Have you ever felt that strange, unsettling feeling that you're not alone, even when you're the only one in the house? That prickle on the back of your neck, the sudden chill that has nothing to do with the temperature. Most of us brush it off as an overactive imagination. But what if it's not? What if it's a warning? My story begins in an old inherited house, the kind you see in movies, with creaky floorboards and a history etched into its very walls. My great-aunt left it to me, and while it was a generous gift, it came with a single cryptic instruction: never stay here alone, ever. I laughed it off, of course. I'm a rational person, a skeptic. To me, it was just the rambling of an old woman steeped in nostalgia and local folklore. I was so wrong. The first week was idyllic. I spent my days exploring the dusty rooms, uncovering forgotten family heirlooms, and dreaming of the life I'd built here. The silence was peaceful, a welcome escape from the city's constant noise. But as the days turned into nights, that peaceful silence began to feel heavy. It started with small things. A door I was sure I had closed would be found slightly ajar. Keys I'd left on the kitchen counter would turn up on the mantelpiece. I blamed it on my own forgetfulness, the stress of moving. It was easier than confronting the alternative. The whispers started on the third night, faint like the wind sighing through the eaves. But there was no wind. They were just on the edge of my hearing, impossible to make out, but they sounded like a conversation happening in the next room. I would pause, hold my breath, and strain to listen, but the moment I focused, they would stop. My heart would pound in the sudden, crushing silence that followed. I started sleeping with the lights on. A childish habit I thought I'd long outgrown. Then came the footsteps, heavy, deliberate steps from the attic directly above my bedroom. Thump, thump, pacing back and forth from one end of the house to the other. The first time I heard it, I froze, convinced a burglar was in the house. I grabbed the heaviest thing I could find, a cast iron skillet, and crept out into the hallway, my body trembling. I called out, my voice shaking, "Who's there?" The pacing stopped instantly. I waited, skillet held high for what felt like an eternity. Nothing. Finally, I gathered the courage to pull down the attic stairs. Armed with a flashlight, I climbed up, my mind racing. The attic was empty. Thick layers of dust covered everything, completely undisturbed. There were no footprints, no sign that anyone had been up there for decades. But as I stood there, scanning the flashlight beam across the cobweb-draped furniture, I felt it. A cold spot, so intensely cold it felt like stepping into a freezer. And in that cold, I heard a single, clear whisper right next to my ear, "Get out." I scrambled down the ladder so fast I nearly fell, slammed the attic hatch shut, and ran back to my room, locking the door. I didn't sleep a wink that night. The next day, I called a friend, Mark, and begged him to come stay with me. I didn't tell him everything, just that the old house was giving me the creeps. The moment he arrived, the atmosphere changed, with his laughter echoing through the halls and our music playing. The house felt like a home again. The whispers, the footsteps, the cold spots, they all vanished. For a few days, everything was normal. We cooked, watched movies, and I started to believe it had all been in my head. I was just lonely, my mind playing tricks on me. The night before Mark was due to leave, we were sitting in the living room. He was telling a joke when he suddenly stopped mid-sentence, his eyes fixed on the hallway behind me. "Did you hear that?" he asked, his voice low. My blood ran cold. I hadn't heard anything. "Hear what?" I asked, afraid of the answer. "It sounded like a little girl," he said, frowning, "singing it." We both sat in silence, listening, and then I heard it too. A faint melodic humming coming from upstairs. It was a simple, childlike tune, but it was the most terrifying sound I had ever heard. It was inside my house. We went to investigate together, Mark leading the way. The humming grew louder as we approached my grit-and-tess old sewing room at the end of the hall. The door was cracked open, a sliver of darkness in the dimly lit corridor. Mark pushed it open slowly. The room was empty, just an old rocking chair sitting in the center, perfectly still. But the humming was loud in here, seeming to come from the very air around us. Then, as we stood there, frozen in the doorway, the rocking chair began to move. Slowly at first, then faster, rocking back and forth with a violent energy, its creaks syncing with the haunting melody. We didn't wait to see what happened next. We ran, we got in Mark's car and drove away, not even stopping to pack my things. I never went back. I sold the house through a realtor, never setting foot on the property again. I later learned from some old town records that decades ago, a family had lived there. They had a young daughter who fell ill and passed away in that house. She loved to sing and spend time in her mother's sewing room. My great-aunt knew. She knew the spirits in that house didn't want to be disturbed. They didn't want to harm anyone. They just wanted their space. They didn't like being alone, and they didn't want anyone else to be alone there either. The instruction wasn't a curse. It was a rule for cohabitation. Never stay here alone, ever. It wasn't a warning against a threat. It was a plea from the other side, from those who were eternally spare at home. So, if you ever find yourself in an old house and you get that feeling, listen to it. Thanks for listening to my story. If you have any creepy experiences of your own, I'd love to read them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more chilling tales. Stay safe out there.